he in his head knows the story, roughly speaking, of like how the skit is going to go, and he's just going to be like, right, okay, so he's going to say this, so let's shoot this. And now he's going to say this, so let's move all the camera, let's move all the sound, let's move all the lighting, and he's going to say this. All right, now he's going to respond. Okay, move all the camera, move all the sound, move all the lighting, and he's going to respond. Like, that shit is, to me, is like batshit crazy. Alrighty. Let's go. Hello. So, I hope you're all good. This video is sponsored by Sasik80, who was really kind enough to give me a very surprising donation, and I thought I'd get off my ass and make a video after EVO when it quietened down a bit. I did actually watch some of EVO, which is the first time I've done that for about 5 years. Mainly the bit that I like is not actually a top 8. Top 8 can be extremely exciting, of course, but my favourite bit is actually, as a viewer, Saturday night when everyone's getting killed. Like, these, you know, everyone except for 8 players is going to lose. And it's like giant killing after giant killing after giant killing. And as a spectator, I love it. For players, it's horrible unless you make the top 8. So for 8 players, it's great. For everybody else, it's probably a bit of a nightmare. But it was fun to watch. And I don't think Street Fighter 6 looks as good. I still think Street Fighter 4 is the best to watch, personally, but that might just be me, I don't know. But I have been playing some Street Fighter 6 for the first time because, weirdly, I don't actually have a subscription on PlayStation at the moment, so I can't play online. But weirdly, there was access this weekend. I don't know how that happened, but it did. And I got a chance to play people, and I had a little 10 win streak, and I thought, yeah, I'll retire now. Best bloody bronze player on the planet. No, it's fun. So I was just mucking about with the Kuma, and I found myself doing a little bit more of that recently, and I don't know, me myself have just been operating at a slightly higher frequency. Like I've got a little bit more energy to me. I go out and exercise every day, all that stuff. Anyway, this video isn't really about me, but things are looking better, and it does look like there's a job on the horizon. Nothing special, but will give me some routine, will allow me to learn some new things, and just get me back out of hermit mode and into life and making a little bit of money, which is better than making no money at all. So all of that has come from that moment I turned the camera on and made a bunch of videos, and, you know, got the support from you guys, which gave me a breather, particularly the financial support. So yeah, it's good. So thank you for that. Anyway, this video, thought I'd talk about the last time that I was at EVO, which was 2019. Got sponsored by our Street Fighter. We made a slightly different, Quasimodox designed a slightly different t-shirt based on the old BornFree t-shirt. This one, I believe, is the one I gave to Bonchan, who then proceeded to wear it in a Red Bull video about Red Bull athletes. I suspect the mastermind behind that was his wife, probably fiance at the time or girlfriend at the time. I know she worked for Red Bull, maybe still does. Anna, who's just lovely. But that was a really nice nod to us, to the community, to all the people who support him, all the people who supported the original interview, and all the community at our Street Fighter and everything else. It was just a really nice way of sort of saying that he, I guess, appreciated that, and or just saying hello. Now, I did a number of interviews, not many, but they were good quality. So I was sort of at that point in my interviewing where people really wanted to sit down. I think they felt safe, they felt comfortable, they wanted to talk, And that was when I got the Ryan Hart interview, which, to be honest, once I had the Ryan Hart interview in the bag, it was probably the best interview, maybe the best interview I've had. But not because of me. I mean, maybe because he felt comfortable enough to sit down and talk about his life on my platform. So I had created something that enabled someone like him to come in and talk. But yeah, it was mainly because he just came and had decided to just talk about his life. And it was brilliant. It was brilliant. I was awestruck all the way through. Anyway, we'll talk about that another time. I wanted to talk about Maximilian. So meeting Maximilian was great. I think that year he actually won some type of award from EVO for his contributions to the fighting game community. I'm sure he's won millions of awards since then. He's probably the biggest influencer in fighting games. He knows so much. That's the thing I noticed, realized when I met him, was like he's 100% like in there. Like he knows who all the different producers are and all these people behind the scenes for all of the different games. And I'm little doubt that he gets to see things before us, and is and signs NDAs and all that sort of stuff, and has a hand in feedback and guiding the fighting games and the fighting game community. And I think we're very lucky to have him because he's a good dude. Maximilian Dood. Found him to have a really good energy about him. He had said to me he would be happy to collaborate on something. I had ideas, but like since I was there doing interviews, I thought, let's do that. So we did an interview. It's difficult, can be difficult to do an interview with somebody who's streaming all the time because most people already know everything about them. But I was curious myself about his craft and some of the things he'd done, and there was a couple of things that surprised me, actually. Remember them, and I don't have a very good memory, as you guys know. There's two things that surprised me. One was I asked him about streaming, and I had asked him if he ever played games off stream, right? Now, there was a reason for this. This was because I was streaming at the time, right? And I never stuck to a schedule. I found it to be quite laborious and tough. Like you have to have all your shit together every single day. You gotta be in the right frame of mind. And if you're not, you gotta make sure you are, or at least pretend you are. I mean, this is my take anyway. You gotta have a certain energy about you. You've got to have a certain vibe. There's so much, and then there's the production side of it and all that stuff. And I think, for some people, maybe it does fit like a glove. And for other people, I think it's actually quite tough on them. You will see a lot of streamers who will say, well, today something happened and therefore I cannot stream this afternoon. And maybe a lot of crazy things do happen to them, which mean they can't stream that afternoon. But I think sometimes they just need to take a mental health break from streaming. Because streaming is like, you got these people who are watching you all the time and you constantly have to interact with them. And I found the experience of playing certain types of games to be different, right? The energy is different. So there are games that I love, it's just me, I get my food, I get my drink, I close the door, I pull the curtains, and I turn on, let's say, Zelda, or maybe Dark Souls, or Elden Ring, or something like that, right? These games which are fully immersive, and you are just in that world, and you are loving it, right? Adoring it. And nobody's bothering you, and it's just downtime. Whereas streaming is different. There's different energy. You're playing it, and everyone's watching you, and you maybe you're doing well, maybe you suck. There's all these different things going through your mind, but you're also trying to keep an eye on the stream to just say hello to people and thank people and this and that and the other, and answer people's questions, and then maybe take people's hints and tips and whatever, and or ban people, whatever it is, right? Like there's a different energy going on. And so I genuinely thought that the answer to the question, Max, do you ever play games off stream? I thought he would say, yeah, every now and then I play this game. But he said no, like never plays a game off stream. I mean, probably not never, but like I imagine 99% of the games he plays, apart from when he's like playtesting somewhere secretly, it sounds like he just switches the stream on and those are the games that he plays. So I think he must really, love it. I'm sure he does. There's also the aspect of like, obviously when you're a huge streamer, the momentum is insane, and I think the moment you turn that screen on, you're already starting to make money. It's a little bit different from those people who are working really hard every day to talk to one, maybe two people or what have you. But it did surprise me that he doesn't have like those moments where he's playing games on his own. Maybe not surprising for the rest of you, but it was for me. The other thing that surprised me is we talked about skits, and I had been doing a lot of skits at the time, and he told me that he shoots everything sequentially, and that blew my mind at the time, because I cannot imagine that. Shooting sequentially, meaning that he in his head knows the story, roughly speaking, of like how the skit is going to go, and he's just going to be like, right, okay, so he's going to say this, so let's shoot this. And now he's going to say this, so let's move all the camera, let's move all the sound, let's move all the lighting, and he's going to say this. All right, now he's going to respond. Okay, move all the camera, move all the sound, move all the lighting, and he's going to respond. Like that shit is, to me, is like batshit crazy. But he said that's how his brain works, right? Like, at least that's how I remember it. I haven't watched these back because I don't like watching myself back. But I remember him telling me that, and I remember my mind just being blown. And I love it when I'm in those interviews and my mind is blown, because you can see it. Because like, the way film works, the way everybody, generally speaking, I say everybody, but most people I would think shoot like you shoot film in a more efficient manner, which is, I would shoot, let's say I shoot two people, right? So I shoot like Capcom Employee 1 and Capcom Employee 2, or BornFree, or Future BornFree, or whatever it is, right? I write their lines, I write the storyboard, I set it up, the camera, the lighting, the sound, for this guy here, and he will say all of his lines as if he's responding to lines that this guy says. And then I will set it all up for this guy, and he will say all of his lines, and then I'll mash it all together in the editing suite, or on the computer, and hopefully it works. But yeah, those were sort of the three things that surprised me about Max. Well, it didn't surprise me. It didn't surprise me that he was a great dude, but it did surprise me how immensely involved and how much knowledge he has of what's going on in terms of the people involved in making these games, and how much of a say I think he probably has, how much reach and I don't want to say power, but like influence. He's an influencer, right? Or he's a content creator, or whatever streamer, whatever he wants to call himself. But really good guy. And then those two questions are the ones that I remember really stood out to me as surprising me. And it was just a real pleasure doing that interview with him, to be honest. That whole weekend was great, really great. Which makes me wonder what it was that made me fall out of love of all of it. But it was what it was. Anyway, I'm going to end this video, and if you've got any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you so much for your support. You've been amazing. At the moment, doing a lot better than I was. I even go for a walk every day, which go like an hour or so, where I get sunlight and exercise and all that stuff. So it's one day at a time, one day at a time. And so, yeah, thanks. And I'll see you in the next video.